Welcome to Flosstube 30. This is a whip update. Normally I do a stitch with me, but today I'm not. I have done 8,355 stitches in the last week. So I decided to show you what I've been working on. I have worked on 4 projects. And the first project I worked on was my Stony Creek Afghan. I'll show you a picture here of what it will look like. I'm not working on the called for fabric. I tend to do that. I have got the fabric, but I decided that I am not going to have it as a wall hanging. I'm not going to have it as an Afghan due to having my cat, and I'm going to have it as wall hanging. So I put it on a 14 count grey Aida. So this is what I've got so far. So I was up to there, that is page 4. And now I am up to here. So this is what I've got. Skew spark threads, they are everywhere, and you will see today that all my projects have got a lot of sparked threads on them. So I did. Hopefully I will have beside it, I will have where I was to where I am. So I did 2,070 stitches over 2 days on this. So I'm really happy. I have done a mistake in the bird. So the 2 birds are not identical. They're not twins. There is a mistake somewhere, I don't know where. And I counted it several times and I just gave up on it, and I thought, I don't know where I've made that mistake. And I gave up on it and just made it work. So I fudged it. So that was the 12th and the 13th of September. My next piece I worked on was the Spirit of Autumn. I'll have the picture here. It's by Cairo Machete, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I did 2,000 stitches, close enough to it anyway. I will have a before picture here. This is on a 20 count balana. So I did 1,249 stitches the first day. And then the second day I did 720. So I should have a before picture. Excuse spark threads. Where was I working? I was predominantly working all in this area. I picked a colour up at the top corner and I just kept working on whatever was the next colour I grabbed. Excuse me. And then I just wanted to try and fill in those pages. I think it's actually 4 pages or 3.5, something like that. I just want to fill in that area. So I should have a before and after picture, hopefully. And this is what I've got so far. This is a crop. I have cropped it. I have got the regular piece, and I cropped it so Coco's just hit the tripod, because I decided I didn't want to do the whole lot. I have to be realistic about how many pieces I've got and what I'm going to stitch in my lifetime as I keep buying patterns. So I'm really happy with how that's progressing, and the artist is Cairo Machete. I'm sure I have butchered his name, I'm really sorry, but I've heard so many pronunciations of it that I'm not sure how to pronounce it anymore. My next piece is a new start. It's the Seasons of the Mermaid by Bella Filipina and Fiberlicious Fabrics. I have not got the call for fabrics. I've not got the call for beads. I beat by my own drum. So the first part came out on the 15th of September, so that's the 16th of September here. So I started that, and I did over the 15th, the 16th of September and the 17th and the 18th, I did 3,251 stitches on that piece, and then I did the beading and the back stitching, so I haven't counted that. And are you ready to see it? So here's a picture of what it's meant to look like. I have done it on a 16 count phantom. I keep saying it's gothic, it's actually phantom. They look so similar that I always mix them up. Ta-da! This is what she looks like. So, do I need something behind here? Yes. So I used all my own beads. I had so many beads left over from the Dark Queen, so I decided that there was one place that I put an extra bead, which is there. No, which is, I can't, there, because it had the symbol H. It wasn't anywhere else on the design. Everywhere else it had a bead, and I thought it had been a mistake. I'm not sure it was, I don't know. It made sense to me to put a bead there because, yeah. The eye on spring, the spring is done by the Petite Treasure braid, and I actually picked to use a bead instead of using a French knot. All my beads were quite similar to what were called for, apart from the bigger beads. Mine were a champagne kind of colour, whereas they were meant to be a white pearlescent colour. I'm really happy with it. It doesn't show the shimmer in the video as they look. I love her skin tone colour. I love that she's not just Caucasian coloured. She actually looks quite Polynesian to me. I think she's stunning. Dawn from Enchanting Stitching was saying to me yesterday she was quite disappointed that she's not face on, she's a side view. I actually think they have to be side views because it's 4 pieces. I think the size of them, they needed to be side views. I don't think they would be able to have the details. But yeah, I think I'm really happy with her. And Jess was saying, Stitching Colours, she was saying to me, my daughter, she was saying, have I got enough beads for all of them? Because I've only got so many of the champagne colours ones. And I said, I think for each part they're going to have different colour beads, because there's a lot of beads in the chart. And I said, I have got so many beads anyway, and I'm just going to use what I've got, and as I come to them, if I need bigger beads like that, I will just use what I've got, or I might have to buy some locally similar, but hopefully I don't, and I can just stitch from stash. That's my plan for this one. I have decided that normally with mystery stitches, I start off with a bang and then normally halfway through I go, I'm not sure I really like this, and I've kitted it all up for everything, and then I go, I'm not sure I actually like it, and then you have all the supplies and you kind of stuck with them. And I didn't want to do that this time, so that's why I didn't kit it all up. But I'm actually really happy with this, and I'm really happy that I didn't kit it all up and it hasn't cost me a fortune. So I did bead now, because that is the width of my fabric. So I will be able to get the whole top beaded, the whole top stitched, and it's quite long, so then I'll be able to put it on a scroll rod and do the lower half. So my fourth piece, I have done 1,070 stitches on it, so once again it has a part thread. So this is Harry Potter by Jenny Parks. I will add the picture in here, and it is a Gecko Rouge pattern, and I have got it on 18 count Flober. This is a restart, and I only just started it, and I have 1,070 stitches. So this is what it's looking like. It's not showing that great a colour because it has, but I'm really happy with this because I only just started it yesterday, so I think it was a good decision to actually change fabrics from the Aida to the Flober, because it is so much easier to stitch. Look at how big those holes are compared to the Aida. So somebody suggested that I should wash the Aida and it will be easier to stitch. I actually did wash it, and it was softer, but the holes weren't any bigger. And unfortunately, if anything, my hands are getting worse, they're not getting better. So my right hand, I have very little feeling in it now completely. If you don't know, I have MS. So sorry I didn't welcome everybody to my channel. So thank you for all my new subscribers and my existing subscribers. I'm terrible at doing this. And I have MS, and unfortunately, due to where the lesions are in my brain, it has affected my right hand, but now it has affected my left hand as well. unfortunately, due to where the lesions are, I have started on treatment for my MS, but what damage is already done before I started treatment, I'll always have that damage, and you can't turn the clock back, and I'm always going to have those symptoms. If not, it's actually going to progress over time, and there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to live with those symptoms. And I didn't expect my other hand to have issues as well. Excuse me. I have just had issues with my left hand, and that's why I didn't do a stitch with me today. I tried earlier on to do it, but where my camera was, I kept hitting it because my hand-eye coordination wasn't working very well. So I quickly decided that this just wasn't going to work this week, so I decided I'd just show you what I'd been stitching on, and I'll quickly do a life update. So how I have been doing, working out what I have been doing is I write it on my board each night. I write on my board how many stitches, etc. that I have, because my memory is affected and I won't remember from day to day what I have stitched on. So then it comes to when I do my Flosstube, I won't know. So what have I brought this week? Shelley at Tilton Crafts has been having a few health issues, so I'm in her Facebook group. Excuse me, I'm going to have to bite my nose again. I've actually picked up a bit of a bug. I'll just straighten you too. I actually thought I had COVID, and I did a test in the weekend because I had all the symptoms. Once again I lost my sense of smell, and I couldn't taste anything, and I had a lot of muscle cramps and high temperature, all that sort of thing. I had all the symptoms again. I've already had COVID before, a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, and I thought, oh, here we go again. So I did a COVID test and it was negative, and I thought, this is weird. Definitely felt like COVID. Had a cold with it, and I thought, maybe I haven't got COVID. So I did another test this morning, and once again it was negative, and I thought, I'm really sore still. So I'm really pleased that it was negative, but I have heard that a lot of people are testing negative but have it. So I think that because I have had it before, that I am testing negative, so that's really good. And it is a lot milder than when I last had it. So I think it just feels like I've had the flu. So, and I think that indicates with my stitching that I've still been able to stitch, but I haven't felt that great. And I think that is very indicative of, I said to Jess, I did the mermaid sale over the weekend, and I was saying it was a real hard please keep off the tripod, Missy. It was a real big task, and I said to Jess, I don't know how she did it. She did it a day less than me. It took me 3 days to do it, which is just over 1,000 stitches a day. And I said to Jess, I don't know how you did it. She also did, she did hers in 2 days, and I think she did 1,500 stitches on other projects as well. And I was going, I don't know how you did that much. So yeah, I think I'm really tired still. You can tell by the bags under my eyes. Yeah, so I think this week I'm going to have quite a quiet week, even with my stitching. So I will insert pictures of my 3 patterns that I bought. It was, I think, even when I bought the patterns, because I knew that Shelley wasn't well and I wanted to support her small business because she had a few health issues, and I wanted to support her. And so I did. I bought the patterns, and when I was showing Dave, it was really funny. When I was showing Dave, he kept saying, no, you can't buy that. No, you can't buy that. You can't buy that. He kept saying, you cannot buy all these dark patterns. I was, they were all very much Halloween based patterns. So I had to laugh. So in the end, I only bought 2 patterns that were a bit darker. So I love the Green Witch, so he liked it too. And the globe looking one, the purple one, that's here. Put it here. I can't remember what it's called. It reminded us both of in Barcelona is a church that was built, and it's carved, and I can't remember what it's called either. I should put a picture here if I can find it online of what I mean. Actually, I wonder even if I have a photo on my computer of it. And then I bought this pattern of the frogs, and I'm really keen to start the frog one. And it's not what I thought I would buy, but Dave loved that one as well. So Dave's gone off to pick up some seeds from in town, and he's gone to pick up grass seed for our lawn. So much for me thinking that it was all going to be garden out. Actually, he's just coming back now. So much for me thinking that he was going to put all that in vegetables. He's actually going to put half of it in lawn, because he decided that he didn't need that bigger area in vegetables, because it's only Brendan and Dave that are eating. So that's really cool. It was really funny. We've had weird weather the last few days, and he was chasing after this cow. I wish I was well enough to actually be out there watching him. So yesterday we had sideways rain, and he went out to move the stock, and there was this cow that was calving, and she had the back foot out, so he knew she was breech. So he tried to cut her out of the rest of the stock so he could help her calve, because he knew that she wouldn't be able to calve on her own. And she knew with the motorbike that she could turn around faster than he could with the 4-wheel motorbike. So in the end, he had to get off the motorbike and run after it to cut her off from the rest of the stock. And he said that she ran her up and down the hills a lot. So he was very pleased to finally isolate her and get her out of the paddock and into the yards to be able to help her calf. So mummy and baby are fine. So very seldom do we ever have to calve a cow. So it's only if they breech, and normally it's in the middle of the night and they quietly calve themselves, and you get up in the morning and you go, oh, they've had a calf. So then he went out later on and he goes, oh, and then you hear running. And he hadn't shut the gates, and she obviously wandered a wee bit with her calf, so he had to go rush and put her back where she was meant to be. So it was very funny yesterday. Every time he walked out the door, you would hear a wee bit of farm language, because he would come inside and it would be, you'd see the sun come out and he'd have a coffee, and then he'd go outside and within a few seconds it would start to have sideways rain. So thank you very much for joining me. Sorry about the disturbance. Dave just came back. I was just teasing him about, I thought he was going to go pick up his seed just in the back of his truck, and I seen him go away with the trailer, and he was saying, yeah, but he went to move his truck and all this water came out of the back of his truck, and so he decided he had to take the trailer. So we have had a lot of rain in the last few days, so that's been actually really good because it was getting quite dry here. So much for spring. I think I said last time, and I showed a video, how lovely it was here with being spring. I think ever since then it's rained or been really windy. So last week when I went to upload my video, we had power cuts. So most of the day we had no power. It took, I don't think I could upload my video until about 4 o'clock because we had no power most of the day, which was quite frustrating. And no power, no internet. So thankfully they finally found the problem. I think it was the tree hit one of the lines inland, and ever since then it has been windy every day. So I definitely haven't needed my FFN that I got because it's been too windy for the bees, so I haven't seen any bees. So even today it actually is quite breezy outside, so I'm not sure that the ground will stay damp for very long. I think with this wind it will dry it out quite quickly. So Dave keeps looking at the stock and going, they're not springing up very quickly, but nothing's growing either. At this time of year you would think you'd be seeing spring growth, but nothing is really springing up. He's talking about selling some more stock because we're going to have to buy in some feed because it's just no growth apart from our tomato plants inside. They're growing quite nicely. Well, I will leave this here, so I'm not sure whether I will do a stitch with me next week. We'll see how I'm feeling. Hopefully this bug that I've caught, I'll be feeling better next week. So thank you for joining me. I will insert my pictures, but I'm going to hold off on starting my froggy picture in the meantime, because I have a new start on the 1st of October with Holly the cross stitch addict, and Mrs Miggins is going to join us. So that'll come around the 1st of October. Before I know it, I'm going to start that on 20 count Berlana as well with Sexy. The Froggy pattern I'm actually going to start on a 20 count Lugana, and that I should have done my Afghan on. I'm going to start it on that. I'm tempted to dye it a little because it's meant to have a white background, and I'm going to remove that. I'm not going to stitch it. So it means I think it's 90,000 stitches, and I think it brings it down to 60,000 stitches or 62. So it's totally doable. And I think all those 3 patterns that I got, they've got white backgrounds, so it's not as big as I think they are. So that's the advantage of all those Tilton Craft patterns. They do feel smaller than Heaven and Earth. So go check Tilton Crafts out. You can also join the Facebook page for Tilton Crafts, and you know when they're having a sale. I think I got the 25% off. There was a bigger sale before that, but I actually wanted to wait until it's just 25% off, because the more money that Shelley got, the better, I thought, with it being a small business. It was quite funny this morning. Dave was having a coffee and he couldn't get the controls to the our recliner to work, because the controls on the top of the cup holder, because he was having his morning coffee and he was dipping his cookie into his coffee, and he must have dripped his from his cookie to his mouth on the controls, and then the controls wouldn't work. It was quite funny. So I had to clean the controls with a paper towel to get it to work again. And I was teasing him about, see, too many cookies aren't good for you. So that was quite funny, because for Dave being such a small fella, boy does he like his sweets or his cookies. And he was saying, well, he was going into town, he was saying, did I need anything at the supermarket? And I was saying no. And I said, well, you better do a cookie run while you were there. And he's going, no, I'm all good. I'm going, really? And he's saying, yeah, when I got milk yesterday, he did his cookie run. I had no idea. So I had to laugh over that. So thank you very much for joining me. Have a fantastic week. I will see you next week with something. I actually need to frame a couple of pieces, so I need to lace them, so I need to do that. So I may do that instead of a stitch with me. If anybody's interested, let me know. So have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.